what life path should I take? Oh, should I go to this party or should I study instead? My friend, oh, should I tell him that the girl doesn't respond because she probably doesn't like him, or should I be more gentle? And all of that are pretty reasonable concerns, okay? All of that undecisiveness about how to act in a way or another is pretty common if you are young, if you're introverted, sensible, if you're very agreeable as a person, if you like difficult and abstract thinking, if you like to analyze things, you might struggle with undecisiveness. I'm like that. I struggle with undecisiveness a lot. And if you struggle to take decision from the simple to the big ones, keep listening because it might help you. The reason is you have difficulties to make decisions is because you always think about the perfect one, or you think about, oh, what is the risk to reward ratio, what do I get actually for doing this choice instead of this other, what are the things that could go wrong. You always start to overanalyze this stuff without even taking a spontaneous confident decision about what to do. And if you keep acting like that, you will either become very mentally fatigued, and we know for research, we know I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a scientist, I'm just a fucking idiot who blab on the internet, but research tell us that you make poorer choices the more choices you get. This is called mental fatigue. Decision fatigue. It's like a muscle that you train too much and it's not recovered, it's become less performing. Your mind works the same. So you will become much more mentally fatigued over time, and you can become stuck at a certain point because you have to choose something really important and you might feel yourself blocked. You don't know what to do. And by not choosing anything, the mental skill of making choices, because making choices is a skill that you have to develop and do the rep to improve over time, becomes much less performing. But it's not your fault, honestly. You don't have the instruments to make good choices. You don't have the instruments to make intentional and aligned choices with who you are. And what can help you navigate your choices as an introvert overthinker, and trust me, I am an introvert overthinker, and this thing helped me a lot, is to discovering your values. And what are your values? Your values are the core principles that you follow in your day-to-day life, and embrace and live them with your actions. Living accordingly to your values means living intentionally, living fully, and without regrets. This sounds very cool, and it sounds cool because it's fucking is. It's absolutely beautiful to live your life accordingly to who you truly are as a person. The question now becomes, well, how do I discover my values? And I use the word discover not at random, because in some psychotherapeutic interventions, like in the ACT or action and commitment therapy, you choose a series of values that you would like to live your life accordingly with. The problem that I have with that is I will be honest with you, I've never done an ACT 101 psychotherapy, but the first concern that comes to my mind is that we as humans are not born as a white canvas, okay? We are not a empty cup that can be filled with whatever you want. We are born with some temperament, with some tendency and some desires that are innate into us, and your brain is different than mine, and it works differently, and your personality is different than mine, okay? We have an innate character traits, okay? And so our values, I believe, are more discovered than chosen. And of course there is some influence from your environment, your parents, where you live in, who you grew up with. Of course this matters, but I want to tell you something which is very interesting once I find it out, which is, do you know that around 50% of your political views is determined by your genetics? It's very funny. You don't choose your own political views. Because, for example, depending by your personality, you can be more conservative or liberal depending of your temperament as a person, because your personality is based partially on genetics, around 50% by the studies, and your political views, your values, and by consequence, political views based on your values are based on your personality. So, by an extent, some of your values and political views are based on your genetics. So you discover who you are. You discover what you truly value instead of choosing it. In order to discover your values, I would invite you to answer some questions on a piece of paper and a pen. So grab or open a Word document, it doesn't matter. Just start writing down this question. Number one, when do you feel you're truly living and you're aligned with yourself? What were you doing, with who, and what character trait you showed into these events? So start thinking about moments in your life when you feel very aligned, when you feel very fulfilled, and what you showed to the world. Question number two is, what do you despise in other people? What do you hate to see? And which value is betrayed when you see them? This is particularly interesting as a question because as humans we are biased towards negativity. So we more easily recognize things that we hate, that we disgust, and we are repulsed by instead of things that are positive. So try to think about things that truly enrages you, things that you really find bothering, what piss you off. For example, I'm someone who values a lot discipline and hardworking. This probably because my parents grew up in the Soviet Union, and so they were very, very much into discipline and hard work, and so they instilled that into me. And when I saw someone who is lazy or someone who complains a lot when things are not working, it bothers me. It's something that really make me enrage when someone wastes his potential in doing bullshit things instead of putting in work towards an important goal. That's actually something that really bothers me. It pisses me off. And so I can say that I value discipline and I value hard work because I reflected upon these things, and I can say confidently that this is my value, and I try to live it as much as I possibly can. I started this channel, for example, in July 2024, and I'm still uploading videos even if no one is watching. So I believe that I'm doing a decent job in discipline. Not as much as I can, but I'm doing my best. So what do you despise in other people? Ask yourself that. And think about your funeral. Think about when you will die. What do you want other people to remember about you? What do you want to be remembered for? You want to be someone who was reliable. We want to remember someone who was always happy and humorous. You want to be known as someone who is resilient. Doesn't matter. It has to be important for you. Another question that can help you think about your values is if you had a team of people that were blindly following you, okay? If you were like a guru or some spiritual teacher that you can say whatever you want and the other people will blindly follow you, what would you teach them? What would you make them do? Which message do you want to live to the next generation? These are the things that you can think about. Journal this question and answer them down on a piece of paper or Word document. A trick for doing that is answering this question on a Word file and paste that into ChatGPT and ask him to I say him because I know it's like my pal. I talk to him every day, so it's like my friend Greg. Okay, my friend Greg is like ChatGPT. But by the way, he can extract your values out of your document, out of what you've written, so it can help you with that. So after that, you extract 3 to 5 values that served you and you want to live by. After that you find your values, you have to create a hierarchy of your values, okay? You gotta understand which one is more important than the other, because some people, if you are not too much young have an idea of what they value, okay? They have a vague idea of what is truly important to them. The problem arises where two things that you actually consider as important, they start to clash from one another, okay? For example, if you love your work and you want to make an impact with your career, but you gotta spend a little bit more time with your children and your relationships, or which one is more important actually? And there is no right question. Most of people will say, I want to pass time with my family, and it's perfectly fine, because most people regret not spending enough time with their closed one, their relationship. But maybe in your case, you want to be someone who does some great things, who want to change the world and the course of history. Maybe if that's you, I'm not saying that that's you, you would like to spend more time and prioritize your work instead of your relationships. It's There is no absolute value that is better than the other one, but you have to be clear about what is in the first place, what is in the second, what in the third. That will help you a lot into making choices. For this step, you can still ask to ChatGPT. You ask him to create a series of simulation where you are forced to choose between one value and the other. And then from your answers, create a hierarchy of your values based on your responses. So you insert your values, okay? You have insert list. Then I put into description the prompt for ChatGPT. You just copy and paste it into ChatGPT, and you answer the questions that ChatGPT gives you, and then the software will create a hierarchy of your values. Control that list and ask yourself critically if the hierarchy of values that you want to have is that. If you think there is something you can change it manually. Okay, ChatGPT is not the omniscient. It doesn't know everything, so create a list of things that you actually value in the order that you prefer. And from there, once you have your values, once you have your hierarchy of values, you have to learn how to integrate them into your day-to-day life. So, how much your actions are aligned to your core values? How can you align more to your core values, and which action should you take on a day-to-day basis to be more close to this version of you? And this is very dependent by the values that you chose, but generally it's good to create a series of intention to action. For every value, you create what I call an intention to action. So write down on a piece of paper your values, and under or next to every value, write your intention to action or more intentions to action with this formula. I will maybe put it down here so you can see it. I will insert your action, when you're going to do that, where you're going to do that, even if, and you insert a possible condition that make you restrain for acting as you should. Make an example. One of my core values is truth, so telling always the truth, not telling lie, and not omit informations that I need, that I is required that I need in that situation. So my intention to action will be, I will say my opinion when it's asked or required during meetings, even if it could hurt someone or cause me trouble. Okay, this is what an intention to action should look like. And this is contextual, so it's not something I do every day, but when the situation arises, I need to do that. Another core value could be physical fitness. Physical fitness is, here's the intention to action. I will do resistance training 3 times a week on Monday, Thursday, and Saturday on 5 a.m. in the public gym, even if I don't feel like it, okay? Should be something like that. Apply that to your principles, your day-to-day life. And once you have made it concrete, once you have these conditions, you have created like some code for yourself. You determined how you should act in a certain situation, how you should act according to who your authentic self is. And when you're asking yourself which action should you take, try to interrogate your values. Is this choice bringing you closer or farther from your core values? And you might not always do the right choice every time, and that's okay. Because, man, if I would be able to give you information and just find your values right away, man, I wouldn't do videos on YouTube with zero views, okay? I would be much more famous. I would probably do TED Talks and gain a lot of money, but that's not the case. I cannot do that. Can show you just my knowledge, and you have to do the work by yourself. And I can tell you that this is worth it. It's worth it to discover your values and live accordingly to them, because no matter what you do, no matter what other people say, you will be able to look back at your choices and the action that you've done and say, fuck it, I did this stuff and I did it because I felt that was the right thing, even though the external consequences may not be the best. I will make an example of you. I passed 3 years studying physical therapy, something that I have chosen at the time, which I don't regret it. I understood that I probably don't like this type of choice that I made, but I don't regret it because at the time this is what I've chosen. And in the 3 years that I've done physical therapy, which is kinda time consuming choice in university because you have lectures, you have labs when you have to go with other people and try different stuff, you have practice that take away a lot of your time, you have a lot of exams, and in the time where I wasn't doing things related to my university, to physical therapy, my other colleagues from university were going out, they were seeing each other, they were having fun all together, and I was in the gym training. I was doing judo a lot of time. I was building my body, I was building my physique, I was doing resistance training. And when they asked me, hey man, would you like to go out to drink some spritz? Spritz is a thing that you do in Italy, but they asked me out, I was like, no, I can't. I had to do judo. And I missed a lot of opportunities, I missed a lot of social gatherings and opportunities in my university years because I was always training. In my weekends, I was in competition, I was doing training camps during holidays. And if I look back at it, honestly, I don't regret anything. I had a lot of fun doing that, and I'm very glad that I passed those years like that. If you put someone else and put him through what I was doing in those 3 years, it would probably kill himself. No, kill himself. No, it's not. Wasn't that hard, but it was very time consuming. Was much energy consuming, but I loved it. I don't regret one day of these 3 years of university. Right now, I don't know what to do, but those 3 years, I don't regret it. I lived, and I don't regret it because I lived them with the way that I decided I want to live them. I had a set of values and I followed them. And I'm pretty happy with my choice. And I hope that you can live in a way that you can look back and be happy and proud of yourself, of the choices that you've made along the way. The video is over. Thank you for watching. Remember to aim upward and keep searching for strength.